president of the Legacy Club at Aliquot Lakes in Longwood, Florida. And welcome to KennedyGolf.com, where our goal is to help students of every level improve their game and increase their enjoyment. So come on in, stay as long as you like. Your feedback's always welcome, and I look forward to helping you with your game. Thanks a lot. Hi folks, Brendan Kennedy here with a two-part series, if you want to call it that, that's geared to help you slicers out there. And I know that that's probably most of you. If you're a mid to high handicap and you're struggling with your game, most likely you're tending to slice the ball. Okay, so I think to start off, we want to have at least a basic understanding of the relationship between the club face at the moment of contact and the path or the direction that the club is pointing at impact, that's the club face, and what direction is the club moving, that's the path. Because we need to understand that relationship if we're going to have any chance of being able to diagnose our problems on our own, okay? And this is something that I didn't understand for probably most of my playing career. I played 9 years professionally, and frankly, this concept was taught backwards in that it was said for a long time by a lot of very good teachers, a lot of books were written that said basically that the path that the club is moving on is what gave the ball its initial starting direction. So they're saying if I was swinging my club in relation to, I've got these wooden dowels here, that's the target line. If I was swinging this club to the right of my target, that's where my ball would start. If I was swinging it down the target line, my ball would start there. And if I was swinging to the left of my target, those are my paths that the ball would start there. And then if the ball was curving off of that line, well, that was because of my club face. Well, they actually had that backwards, that it's actually the club face that gives the ball its starting direction. Some really great teachers out there have used the term the tool of projection, which is a pretty nice way of looking at it. That where this club face is pointing at the moment of contact, that's going to give the ball its starting direction. That could be pointing right at the target, could be pointing to the right, to the left. Wherever that's pointing, that's where the ball is going to start. Now it's not 100% or 1-to-1 ratio, but it's close enough to just simplify it and call it that. Okay? Technically, with a driver, the ball starts at 85% towards the face. With an iron, it's a little less than that, but close enough to say where the face is pointing, that's where the ball is going to start. Okay? So that's an important piece, because then if the ball is curving, that is a result of the path deviating from the direction that the club face is pointing. So the club face could be pointing to the left of the target, and but the path of the club could be going to the right of the target, and vice versa. Now, and let me preface all this by saying that we're just operating on under the assumption that you're hitting the ball in the center of the club face, because if you're not, that can skew these variables because of some factors like gear effect and whatnot. We don't need to get into all that, okay? But let's just assume that you're hitting the ball in the center or sweet spot of the club, okay? Because this would be too lengthy a video to go into off-center hits. But let's assume we're hitting it in the center of the face. Okay? Now, if at the moment of contact my club face is pointing to the left of my target, that's where my ball is going to start. Okay, so I'll put this down. That's where my ball started. Okay, when I came into the ball, I closed the face in relation to the target. Okay, so it's facing right there. So that's where my ball is going to start. But let's say that my ball might have started there, but curved and finished to the right of my target line, way out there. That's a slice. That would mean that the path that my club took really into the ball was to the left. These are just visual equivalents. The ball would already be gone by this point, but if my path was to the left of this club face, this closed club face in relation to the target, the ball would curve to the right. So this would mean that the club face, the yellow shaft, is closed to the target, but it's actually facing to the right of the path. In other words, it's open to the path. Okay? So, if that was the case, the axis of the ball would be tilted in such a way, this way, that the ball, like the plane tilting its wing, would curve to the right. If my club face was facing to the left and my path was almost identically to the left, then the ball would start and stay on that line. Okay? If my club again was closed or facing to the left of the target and my path was to the right of that, the axis of the ball would be tilted the opposite way and the ball would start left, but it would hook. Okay, so that's not what a slicer does. The slicer has his path going to the left of his club face. Now, if I came into the ball and the club face was open to this target, in other words, it was facing to the right, okay, and my path was to the left of that club face. Again, the axis of the ball would be tilted. My ball would start to the right, and it would curve further to the right. If these two, again, were pretty much identically in the same direction, it'd be a straight push. Now, if my club face was, switch these, if my club face was facing to the right of the target, or open, but my path was to the right of that, the orange shaft, then my club face would technically be open to the target, but closed, open to the target, it would be closed to the path. Again, the axis of the ball would be tilted in such a way that the ball would start to the right, there's the face angle, and the path would cause the ball to curve back to the left. That's a draw. That's what we're seeking if we're a slicer. Okay? So, it might be semantics, but slices are not hit with, generally, with an open club face. Not open in relation to the target, at least. It's open in relation to its path. And then a ball that curves from right to left, the club face is generally open to the target, but closed to its path. Okay? So again, when you hit a shot, try to pick up as soon as you can, as soon as you see it, determine where did it start in relation to my target. Because that's going to tell you where your club face was pointing. Then, look at its flight all the way. Is it curving one way or the other? Because if it's curving, that's going to mean that your path was going in a direction that was not the same as where the club face was pointing. It was either left or right of that club face. The drawer has his path to the right of his club face, but both to the right of the target. The fader has his face close to the target, but his path to the left of that club face, so it's open to the path. And then how much of a divergence between those two would determine how much curve is being put on the ball, basically. Okay? So maybe go through this a few times, try to get that in your head. I know it may not make a lot of sense at first, but keep reviewing it and you'll understand it. Hopefully I've described this in a way that will help you understand it. sooner than later, but that's a good start. So in segment 2, we'll start looking at what are some of the technical factors that cause the ball to slice. What are some of the swing mistakes that I see made that cause people to slice the ball, and then what can we do to cure that? Okay, so we'll see you in the next segment. Thanks a lot.